Hello and welcome to episode number 48 of Girlstreamers. Girlstreamers is a podcast bringing you the girl streamers that you know and love. Girlstreamers is a community that supports and promotes girls that stream. We are a bi-weekly podcast and we'll be introducing you to some amazing girl gamers and allow you, the viewer, to get to know some of your favorite streamers. My name is Nymphadora, and with me tonight is Daccio. If there is time at the end, we will take questions from the audience in the channel. This is a live podcast, but we will also be available for download on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and YouTube. What's up, Daccio? How you doing?
Hey, Nymphadora. How are you doing? I'm doing great.
Awesome. I've had a great day myself. Yeah. So good I decided to put makeup on for this sucker. How about that?
Looking sexy.
Thanks. You got me with purple lipstick. I never put makeup on, but I put makeup on for you. So there you go.
Okay. Hey, I love it.
So, how'd you come up with your screen name?
Okay, well, first of all, I just want to say Happy Pride Month to everybody from a pansexual trans woman, and I'm just gonna go ahead and start in there then. So my screen name, Daccio the Side Chick. I play a lot of tabletop RP, and
Nice.
this was in particular an online tabletop RP. And one of the first characters I ever made had a sister who was a psyker. If you've ever heard of like the 40K universe. And her name was Daccio. So I came to like that character even more than my actual character. So the name Daccio kind of stuck. And because I like puns, side chick sounded like psychic. So I was like, sounds good to me.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So, okay, your tabletop, do you like D&D then?
I love D&D. I'm in a once a month D&D game, once a month Vampire the Masquerade game. We alternate every other week. So
Nice. We are trying to keep our D&D campaign going. T. Fredrickson is our DM for Girlstreamers. We haven't had one in a while, but next time we have one, you should sign up and play it. She's
that would
really
be awesome.
good. She is really, really awesome. So where are you from?
I am from central Pennsylvania, near Harrisburg. That's between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, for those who don't know anything else about Pennsylvania.
Are you a Steelers fan?
Nope, I don't like sports ball really, so you know.
Okay, all right, that's fine. It's fine. I am not from the Penn State at all, but I am a Steelers fan. Somehow I became a Steelers fan in college and just kind of stuck with
Okay.
it. So I do like the sports ball. I like sports ball and I like games. So there you
Hey, to each their own.
go. So speaking of games, what is the first game that you ever played that got you into the gaming world?
So when I saw this question, I thought it was a very interesting question because I distinctly remember this moment. Being a little girl sitting around the Christmas tree with my brothers, and we opened up that shiny new N64. It was the best system ever.
Yeah.
And I remember opening The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, thinking, oh my god, this is going to be amazing. I played that game so much that my joystick on my controller was permanently leaning at a 45-degree angle because I wore it out. So.
Oh my god, I used to do that to my controllers too. You had to buy new controllers constantly.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Speaking of the N64, did you see that they bought the trademark for the N64 and there are rumors that they're going to do like a retro, you know what they did with the Super Nintendo and everything? Rumors are going around that they're gonna make a new N64 retro
That
console.
would be amazing.
I'd buy the shit out of that.
Me too.
Oh my god, N64. That is definitely... We had a Nintendo when I was a kid, and I remember that, but the N64 is where, like, me and my brother bonded.
Absolutely. There's just so many good memories revolving around that, so...
There were so many good games on the N64 back in the day.
Absolutely. Perfect Dark was one of my favorite games.
Oh my god, I loved... We had Mission Impossible, we had...
Yeah.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater on that game was
Oh,
dope.
Yeah. Oh
That was
yeah.
such a good game. I loved doing all the different skateboards and customizing them. I'm such a dork. I'm such a dork. Um so so how long have you been streaming?
Okay, so I've been streaming about 10 months to a year-ish now. I've hit affiliate last December, end of last December. So
Congratulations.
thank you. I've been trying to keep up the best I can. I do have some subscribers, so I'm trying to stream at least once a week. But it could be kind of difficult.
Um so do you plan on doing a I've been streaming for a year or anything?
I would love to. That would be a lot of fun. I just have to figure out exactly when my year is. I'd like to do like a longer stream, like 6 or 8 hours. I've done a 6 hour stream before. I've done a couple longer streams with Mama Rage, and we've done like some collabs and stuff. But I'd like to do a bigger one by myself.
Nice. Would you ever consider doing a 12-hour stream?
I would. Yeah, that would be interesting. If I've heard horror stories about the 24-hour stream, but I think I could manage the 12-hour.
12-hour is the longest I have gone for so far, but I don't know that I could go beyond a 12-hour because that 12-hour is tough.
I'm an ambivert, so like even if I'm only interacting with like the people on chat, they're real people who are like asking me questions and chatting with me, and it's taking my social energy. So after a while, I just get really tired.
I can actually expect I can understand that a little bit. I am an extrovert, but certain things like Dragon Con or anything like that, like really big conventions, if I'm around a bunch of people at once, I'm out for a week to recover. It drains me.
Absolutely. I remember going to Comic-Con New York, 120 some thousand people.
Jesus.
That was a lot of people.
Oh God. Yeah, the largest convention I've ever been to so far is Dragon Con, which I want to say it is in the top 3 of the nation. It kind of goes back and forth between it and Gen Con. Comic Con obviously being the biggest. It hit 100,000 last year for the first time, and it was 85 the year before that. So it grew that much in just a year.
Ooh, that's pretty big growth there.
Yeah, it is crazy, and it's all done in hotels. All done in hotels. It's not at a convention center, which makes it even more compact.
Mm-hmm.
My very first Dragon Con, I had a panic attack and freaked out.
I could understand that one. So,
but it's a lot of fun if you like just general nerdy stuff.
Oh, I'm such a nerd.
See, so they do different tracks. They have like a young adult track. They have they even have a military track. They have a skeptic track. They have a British track. They have a video game, like whole video game, not just one track, but they've got a couple of different tracks based off of video games. Tabletop games, like we've had a couple of people who work at Wizards of the Coast come down. Like husband,
oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, it is. And right before 5e came out, one of the writers was down there explaining what 5e was supposed to be, and so we were in there talking with the guy, and I was like, oh, 5e sounds like it's gonna be a really good addition to fix the shit that happened with 4th edition. And yeah, it's exactly what he was talking about. So that was really cool to get that kind of, we've had Blizzard devs come in before as well. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So if you like conventions, I highly recommend coming down to Atlanta and hanging out.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
I got a couch you can stay on.
I'll remember that.
So what actually got you into streaming? What told you, hey, let's go start streaming?
So I've always been kind of interested in it. Like I've seen people streaming. I'm like, that would be fun. I would love to, share, share me and my games with people and stuff like that. but I was always too nervous to do so. Like I was always, particularly because I'm transgender, I was too really, really worried about doing that. But
Yeah.
then I remember watching Games Done Quick, and Proto Magical Girl, she was the person who did it for me. She's such an amazing person and like brave woman, and like I saw her do that, and then I messaged I DM'd her on Twitter, and I didn't expect a response, but she replied, and we're like, okay, I got to do this now. This is the thing I'm doing. She inspired me to get into it.
That's awesome. Isn't it so cool when you have a response from somebody you don't expect on Twitter?
Absolutely.
That is the coolest. That is just the coolest response. I got that too. I was like, hey, so and so, I would love to interview you for a Girlstreamer podcast. It was Gillyweed. She's an esports caster for Heroes of the Storm. And she's like, yeah, just DM me. And I was like, wait, what? I was sitting in the bathtub when that happened too. I was like, what? What? She actually responded?
That's pretty awesome.
I totally understand that feel when one of your like idols and people you look up to is like, hey, what's up? How you doing?
Mm-hmm. That's pretty awesome. Yes, I agree.
Is she still streaming? I'll have to go check her out.
I haven't been on Twitch as much lately because of school, so I haven't really been able to catch any of her streams. She does a lot of speedrunning stuff.
Nice. Okay.
But that was that again. That's the nature of Games Done Quick. So that was
yeah. That's cool though. So, what is the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to you on stream?
I'll be honest, I really haven't had many embarrassing moments at all. Like, I can't even recall a specific instance. Most of the embarrassing moments, I guess you could say, were more people being creepers, and that's not something I really want to talk about on stream. But it's just, we've had a few of those.
Yeah, like the dudes who will message you and ask you for feet pics, yeah. I get those. I don't know if you do, but I do.
I've gotten some really weird ones. So.
So then has anything embarrassing happened to you on stream? I'm sorry. Anything most memorable? I had the wrong question highlighted.
That's okay.
I highlight my questions as we're going through. So yeah, the most memorable moment then.
So one of my most memorable moments was also, I wish I had my face cam at this time. It was a very interesting game. I played Doki Doki Literature Club blind.
Yeah.
And I avoided all of the spoilers, and I jumped so many times. I don't think I've sworn another game as many times as that game, and I cried twice on stream. So that was a memorable moment of streaming that game.
That game was intense.
It absolutely was.
If I had gone into that game blind, I would have not made it through that game. I had a friend who, he has a podcast as well, and he was doing his podcast on it, and we were discussing prior to the podcast, and he's like, yeah, I was like, oh, it's free? I'll go check it out. He's like, I know your history. He's a very good friend. He's like, I know your history with that whole subject and stuff, so here's some stuff you may want to, understand. I was like, what? Because I didn't know anything about it until he had mentioned it to me. And thank God. Thank God.
One of the first big upsets in that game I just started crying, like right in the middle of being on stream. And it's just like, if I had had a camera, everybody would have saw that. That would have been an embarrassing moment.
Oh my God. Yeah, so lucky for you, you didn't have a cam at that time. Oh my God. So what did you think about that game?
I absolutely love that game. It was very, very rough emotionally to play.
Yeah.
I could not do it all in one sitting. I had to break it up into 2 streams because, like, after the first couple major things happened, I was just like, I can't do this anymore.
When you went through the game, was the build up to me the build up took a little too long.
I would agree in the first run through it did take a little while, but it could have been a lot worse, I think.
Yeah.
But that I think it was appropriate to just too long.
Yeah, it was like it felt like, and I think a lot of that was because I was also reading it out loud for being on stream.
I absolutely understand that. That was a lot of reading,
It really was.
especially like the poems and stuff. It was just
Oh
like you're
my
going on and
god.
on.
Oh yes, I know. It was a good game though. It really was. They did a really good job with it.
Absolutely.
And they were not joking when they were giving the mental health warning at the beginning at
Oh,
all.
absolutely not. That was that was a good move.
Yeah. So, what type of games do you tend to play and stream? Do you tend to stick with what they call weeb games, or are you kind of a variety streamer?
So I'm a variety streamer. I don't play a lot of the big ticket games that a lot of people play, like Fortnite and Overwatch. I don't play those a whole lot. I do play some Heroes of the Storm, but typically, my favorite types of game to play. I love long storied RPGs. They're not as conducive to streaming as I would like, but I try to play some. Like I'm playing Nier Automata right now. But I also really like platformers like Celeste and Hollow Knight.
Ooh, I
So
love
those
platformers.
my viewers like to see me get salty about them. So
Nice. Very nice. So, this next question then is what? It's kind of a two-part question. What is your favorite game right now, and what is your favorite game of all times?
so ooh, that's a hard question. One my favorite game right now is probably Persona 5. It
Oh,
was
okay.
one of my favorite. That is one of the best RPGs I have played in a long time. The My biggest gripe about it is I still can't pick the protagonist gender, but that's beside it's a lot of this stuff is based off of like manga and stuff, and so it's kind of like okay, um, and so one of my favorite. So as far as all time, one of my favorite series has to be Mass Effect, despite some of the later game issues it had. But it is still the trilogy is still one of my favorite game series ever.
What is it about Mass Effect that gets you? Is it the storyline that just drew you in?
Absolutely, absolutely. I am a sucker for some very good story, and it drew me right in.
That,
So,
Acid Queen is a big Mass Effect fan as well, and I interviewed her a few months ago, and she
mhm.
said the same thing. It was the story that just drew her in, even though, what is it, Andromeda? I've never played the Mass Effect series, so forgive me, but Andromeda, is that the like third one?
That's the newest one. They've had the trilogy, so 1, 2, and 3, and then they had Andromeda,
Yeah.
which is supposed to kind of happen a little bit concurrently to the events of like the beginning of that happened concurrently with the events of like 2, I think it was something like that.
Oh, okay, all right. And that is supposedly the one that everybody's like on
It
it.
it's very meh. It has some good parts. It has some bad parts. It has some very very meh to it. You can tell it was rushed. You can tell they didn't care much about it. There was a lot of plans that they didn't implement, and it frustrates me because it could have been a really good game.
Oh, that is a shame. Oh, that is a shame right there. I hate when you're promised some stuff in a game.
Mhm.
Blizzard dance. Blizzard. Um, we were supposed to be we were supposed to get a dance studio like 3 expansions ago for Blizzard, but that never happened. So you could customize your own dance. Um, but whatever, Blizzard. I get it. Whatever. I am not
It's
a Blizzard fangirl at all in any way, shape, or form. Um, so sorry.
they have
Um,
some good games, but
that's how I met my husband. So I'm kind of
oh, okay.
yeah.
I'm kind of partial.
Yeah, kind of partial there. So do you have a main? Do you have a main game right now?
Not really. As far as games, like when I first started off, I mostly started streaming with Final Fantasy 14. I love the game. It is one of my favorite MMOs to play. If I it's if I had to pick another game like that's not an MMO that I play a lot is Stardew Valley. I played a lot of that on my stream, and I am looking forward to playing the heck out of the multiplayer on that.
That is
And
such a
Arc,
good game. I
it
love it.
is.
I have not played the multiplayer on that yet either. So good. I don't feel so bad being behind on Stardew multiplayer.
I don't think it's officially come out yet, has it?
It came out 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I'm behind the times.
Yeah, girl, you need to get on it.
Have to I'll have to gather my crew up and do some streaming of multiplayer.
Yeah.
Marry all my friends.
So, yeah, apparently you can marry your friends, by the way, which I
All
think
of them.
is cool. Wait, you can marry all of your friends, like, at once?
From what I understand, you can marry more than one of your friends. Yeah.
That's cool. I think 4 people can play at a time right now.
Correct. Yes.
Um, that's cool. That's really awesome. Have you played any other Final Fantasy games?
So, I played a couple of them. I played 7. I played 8, 9. I beat. I played 10. Tried to play 10 too.
The look on your face is like.
I played 11 for a little bit while that was out. That's where I'm glad they didn't take a lot of 11 to put into 14 because that was a mess. But that was those were the main ones I played. I've been playing a little bit of 15. My partner got me into 15, so that's been fun. It is, however, bros on a road trip. So
Yeah, so many guy games, man.
I know.
We need more girls. I'm not. Uh, shit. What game was it that just came out and all the dude bros are crying because it's a girl with the mechanical arm on the front? Is it Battlefield 5 or Battle? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Battlefield 5. And it's a girl on the front of it's a girl who is the protagonist, and you're looking it up. Yeah, go look it up. I think that's which one it is. And they're crying because it's a girl.
You're right. It is well,
because it's based out of World War II or something like that. And I'm like, why? Why is this a problem? Girls totally fought in World War II. What the hell?
Yeah, I don't understand it.
But I've never played any of the Battlefield games, so I know nothing about them.
I haven't either, so that's not my cup of tea, and honestly, I don't think I would get along very well with a lot of the community, so.
Yeah, same. So are there any games, E3 is literally right around the corner. Is there anything you're looking forward to coming out about E3?
So here's my problem. I'm in nursing school. That limits my time to kind of look into this sort of thing. But as far as a game that has come out recently that I wanted to get was God of War. That's a pretty new release.
Yeah.
I want to get that one. I know there's a new Assassin's Creed game coming out eventually. I love Assassin's Creed.
I saw that. I haven't played any of the Assassin's Creed games ever. I know.
I think it goes along with my platformer type love, Let's see what else. Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out in October. So I've never played the first one, and my partner is mad at me about it, and I suspect that's going to be a thing, and then he's going to make me play the second one. So I guess I'm de facto excited about that because I have to be. But
if you are a platformer gamer, I think you'll like Red Dead Redemption. It is sort of platformish, but the storyline is what's really captivating, at least for me. And I like that it's kind of like Skyrim in the way that you can do all these other side quests and these other side things just to flesh it out a little bit more. but I love Red Dead Redemption. It's one of my top games, and I am
I,
excited about the second one. So
I'm I am wary and cautiously optimistic about Fallout 76 as well.
yeah.
I love Ark, so it's a survival sort of build your base thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I'm
Fallout
not sure.
76 is. I'm just glad they didn't announce, because, there were rumors flying around. It's going to be a battle royale. I'm like, please no. Just no.
Yeah, we don't need any more of those.
And not only that, like, Fallout would not be a good battle royale game. It just doesn't
Yeah,
suit that at all.
I agree.
Um, so yeah, you're excited about a lot of the same games I'm excited about. Sweet.
It's awesome. I'm looking forward to them.
And there it looks like, from looking at the Sony stuff, because we do the Cosmic Bulletin. I know with school you may not realize, but we now have a new show for Girl Streamers. For those of you who are listening
Oh,
and
I
don't know
didn't know
this, we have a new show about Girl Streamers, or that Girl Streamers produces, and we talk about all the new things for games and streaming that's coming out. And so it's actually, I'm getting really excited for E3, because it looks like there's going to be a ton of announcements this year
That's
for
awesome.
all across the board. So I think this is going to be a really good E3 year. So is there a game that you would want to have a reboot or remastering of?
A game I would love to see remastered is the original Grandia. I don't know if you've ever played it,
No.
but it is the RPG that got me into RPGs.
What is this? You got to tell me.
So you start off, essentially, you start off playing this little boy named Justin, and like he suddenly has to go, like there's a whole like beginning story to it where he lives alone with his mom, and like he's got this friend, this girl who's his friend, and like they end up having to go on this, like he feels that he needs to go out on this like adventure to learn about being an adventurer, because there's like sanctioned adventurers in this world. So he wants to follow in his dad's footsteps, And it starts off kind of like cliche-ish, but it really, like, I just remember like going to a place called the Edge of the World in Grandia. And then the camera this is PlayStation, so the graphics aren't great, but it pans out and there's like this amazing world beyond the edge of the world, and it was such a moment of like, this is going to be epic,
Nice.
So
This sounds like a cute little game.
it's a long game. It's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of really cool mechanics in the battles and stuff. I would love to see that be remastered.
Nice. Sony has been remastering a lot of their old stuff lately, so maybe you should, tweet them and tell them to remaster that one.
That would be awesome. Maybe I should do that.
So they may respond to you. That would be cool.
That would be cool.
So, is there a game that you would like to play again as if it were the first time?
So this game has been so long since I played this game that it would almost be like that. But Lunar Silver Star Story Complete was an SNES RPG that I played.
I've heard of that one, yeah.
And I just remember getting very emotional about some of the scenes, and I would love to have that experience again, because if a game can evoke emotion from me, that is like, that will sucker draw me right in.
That's awesome. I am in the film world, but there's so much similarities in the film, especially the independent film market and the game independent market, because the story is what sells, and whether it's film or whether it's game, like that's what people want. They want that escapism to go into that story, and so I am a sucker for story myself.
It's the best part of any game. If you have a good story, you will draw me right in.
Yeah, and I don't think it matters about graphics either. As long as your story is good
Absolutely not. Yep.
and your audio is not shitty, it's gonna be a good game. I don't give a shit about
Yep.
graphics.
I agree.
So what is the oldest game in your backlog that you have never beaten?
So out of the games that I will realistically play again, because we all have that giant backlog of games, and we know there are some on there that we're never gonna play.
Yep.
But the ones I'm realistically gonna play, I recently got the remastered Shadow of the Colossus, and I really want to beat that. That's
Okay. I was watching one of the girls on the stream team play that a few months ago. That's a cool looking game. I never played it, but that's a cool looking game.
yeah, it's definitely it's a 2005 release, so it's been a while, but they remastered it and released it, and it's been a lot of fun so far. I've beat a couple of the colossi, and it's just been really interesting, and
Nice.
you can see the difference between the old games and the new games, how the mechanics worked and stuff like that. But it's definitely an interesting game.
Nice. It's really weird to think that 2005 is 10 years ago. I still think the 90s were 10 years ago.
I know. Just think, people born in 2000 are 18 this year.
I know. I
Makes
know.
me feel so old.
My little cousin graduated high school this year.
Oh man.
It's so weird. So weird. So we're gonna get away from games for a little bit, and we're gonna go into a little bit more serious stuff and learn about you. What do you like about being a part of Girlstreamers?
Um, so honestly, the community, the sense of community I get from everybody, being transgender, I was really worried about applying to be a girl streamer. I had no idea what your guys' policy was on that. No one has ever said anything or given me any trouble. The community and support is just absolutely amazing. Everybody's so inclusive, and like, we're all there for one another.
And that's what we try to do. We try to be inclusive. Because, I mean, we're all girls. We all know how shitty uh, life can be for fellow females. Um, Not to say that dudes don't have shit, because dudes totally have shit they have to go through. It's just nice to have like a girls' club because there's not a lot of them.
No, there's not, and it's definitely nice, because we have our space where we know that we're going to be accepted and supported.
Exactly. So, what is it that keeps you so passionate about gaming and just the gaming community as a whole in general?
So I think we've hit on this a lot at this point. Just the stories, like I love stories and storytelling. I play tabletop RPG games, and just those interactions you have with the story, and even on online games like MMOs, some of those have really stories that really draw you in, and you can experience that with your fellow gamers. And it's just, if something can draw me in like that, that keeps me passionate. It's just
What keeps you going in the gaming community, like outside of the video game itself? Um, just the gaming community, because it can be pretty visceral when it comes to women and trans female and just anyone that is a trans person in general. Like what is it about the community that actually keeps you coming back, even though it can be a little abusive to us?
so regardless of how many bad eggs I found at this point, I know that I have this wonderful group of people who will always be there for me. You know, no matter what's going on, I will always be able to come back and say, these bad things are happening, and somebody will give me, I'm sorry, let's talk about it, or something like that. It's just one of those things that, regardless of the bad stuff I see, there is always people who will support you.
I love how positive you are with that statement. You focus on the good instead of the bad, and I think that's awesome that you do that.
One thing I've always really believed is I was inspired by another trans woman to get into streaming. If I can inspire at least one person, then I've done the world a service. You know, it's I
Definitely.
I will do everything I can to inspire and support anyone who, you know, in the community who needs it.
If you could give your past self 1 to 2 words of advice from the wisdom that you have experienced and gained up until now, what would they be?
Don't give up. Be yourself. That's what I would say. You know, that's more than 1 to 2 words, but you know what I mean. Like it's just
1 to 2 words usually is more than 1 to 2 words. It's okay. You good.
be yourself. There's 2 words. No matter what, be who you are. You know, don't give up.
I think that's actually I think that's really important is be yourself, and that is I struggled with that. I struggled with accepting that I was actually a little bit nerdy when I was in high school. I tried to push that away, you know.
Hmm.
Um, it wasn't until college when I accepted my nerdiness personally, and I became a happier person because of that. It's something stupid, something simple. It's not something major, but you know, there are so many people that are going without accepting who they are that they live a miserable life because of it.
Absolutely, and you know, I'm glad that we're moving in a better direction as a whole now to where people can accept who they are as you know much
We're
sooner.
we're definitely trying, and it's there's if you look at what went on in the 80s versus now, like just in 30 years, there has been a huge improvement in our lifetime. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's never going to be perfect in our lifetime, but the fact that, I can say, man, I watched these shows in the 80s and 90s and they were awful. Like, I was talking to my husband earlier today. I was watching Cocktail last night and I was like, you know what? I remember thinking that movie was great, but, well, I mean, great. It's Cocktail. It's not that great of a movie. But I was like, man, it's a good movie. But then you think about the story and it's very misogynistic, and
Hmm.
he never actually apologizes for what he does in the movie. He just tries to make an excuse. But nowadays, like, we've demanded better from our male role models in the industry, and we're now demanding the same in games. Like, we are demanding better role models for our girls and for our guys and for our trans, friends and gay, straight, all of that. We're demanding better role models that are more inclusive. And I think that, yeah, there's a lot of shit that needs to change, but it's moved forward a lot in just
Abso-
such a short amount of time.
Absolutely, we are really pushing forward. I mean, we're hitting roadblocks every step of the way, but we're also still rolling forward.
Yeah, and it's not and it's not just the LGBTQ community plus. I'm gonna say LGBT plus because there's a lot, um, but it's also in our minority communities as well. It's a very slow improvement, but it's still a bigger improvement than what it was 50, 60 years ago.
Absolutely.
What trait of yours are you most proud of?
Um, I feel that I am most proud of my compassion. Like, I'm a very compassionate person, hence nursing school, hence wanting to inspire people. You know, I really feel that that is probably my strongest trait, and you know, um, it's what helped my dad realize that this is who I am. You know, and it's who I am.
I think that's awesome. You uh that kind of I know this is a kind of a two-part question, but I also want to ask this question. When you did come out, did you have a hard time with your family, or were they actually pretty open and understanding?
So at first, the first thing my dad told me when I came out was, "Don't expect me to change. This is who you were. This is who you always be to me. I will never call you anything else. I will never call you her." But 3 years later, he's perfect with pronouns, perfect with my name. He treats me exactly how I should be treated.
Wow, that's awesome. That's so awesome. Oh, yay, Dad. You're
I
awesome.
know and I can, you know, I can pinpoint little moments where I could see things starting to turn, and it's every one of them revolved around my compassion and like my sister saying, "Look at her, she's come to life." Just
Oh, that's so awesome. How many siblings do you have?
so I have three siblings, a sister and two brothers.
Oh, wow. You got a pretty good family there.
Yeah, we're a little split up through because of different marriages and stuff like that, but we're all pretty close.
That's good. I have just the one brother, and we're pretty close ourselves. Um, so, what is your greatest insecurity?
I am really, really hard on myself to the point where it can be like a negative drawback. Like, I think that's my biggest insecurity is like I feel I'll never be good enough. Like and I think that's the opposite side of compassion. Like I want to help. I want to do everything I can to help everybody. So like there are times where I feel like I'm not good enough, that I can't do it, that you know, so that's probably my biggest insecurity.
Do you
Like I can
think
drag myself down essentially.
do you think part of that comes along with the fact that you went so long not being your authentic self?
Absolutely. That's 100% part of it. Just I but I'm getting to the point now where I've struggled enough that and fought hard enough to become who I am, that that's starting to fade a little bit.
That's good. Um, as someone who I struggle with imposter syndrome, and
Hmm.
it is very similar in that regards as far as, but it's like, well, I was at a film festival and I was, rubbing elbows with people, meeting people, but I'm in the middle of this party and I'm like, I don't belong here. I'm not good enough to be here at this party that gives out free booze and free food to filmmakers, right? Like that's so I kind of understand that a little bit. Like I'm not
Hmm.
good enough, and that's a very that can be a very self devastating mindset to get into, uh,
Absolutely.
and it can screw you up when it comes to work and stuff like that too.
Yeah, yeah, it can. It
Uh,
definitely can.
you just have to realize that you do belong there because you're there. So, like, you do belong here. You are this person, and that's what makes you perfect. Have you? We actually talked about this prior to the podcast, but in the pre-show, have you ever been trolled?
I haven't really been majorly trolled, no. I have some of my friends who like to tease me and like joke with me, but nothing serious, no.
That is really lucky. That's really good. Um, I have been trolled a lot, but I am a little jealous of you. But I'm proud and happy for you that you haven't had to deal with
No.
that kind of crap.
Well, I'm sure it'll happen at some point, so.
um, I think I will say it's worse, at certain points of the year. Like summer, summer is probably the longest troll session. It seems to coincide with school breaks because the bulk of trolls are going to be your teenagers and
Hmm.
12-year-old, little shitheads, right? Um but I am so good with kids, guys. I really am, but all kids are terrible. Let's be real here. All kids are assholes. um, but it seems to coincide with that, even though I know a lot of trolls are also adults. But for some reason,
Yeah.
it coincides with the school breaks, which is really weird. And since you've been in school, you haven't really had to deal with that too bad, which is lucky on
Yeah.
your part.
Well, I guess the most trolling I've experienced is my friends and like people popping in the chat and being like, "Oh, they'll see me die. You died again." They just rub it in even more. Get really salty about it, that sort of thing. But
Yeah, but they're
nothing
friends. It's nothing really
exactly. It's
bad.
nothing serious. So
They're just giving you crap. See, that's the kind of trolling that, we don't mind.
I don't mind that. People like to see me get salty anyway. So
Me too. Apparently, I'm hilarious when I get real salty. Uh, so, what advice would you have for any new person getting into streaming?
there's two things that I distinctly feel would have helped me tremendously. People said this to me, but it's hard to stick in your mind. Just be patient. Be patient and stick with it. Those are the two things you need to have any sort of build up any sort of base of people to watch you.
That is actually a very good. A lot of people are not patient enough because you think, oh, I'm gonna get those numbers real fast, and it's like, nope, you're not.
And the problem is you may have a time when you gain 5 or 6 followers in a night, but then you might also lose two the next day because something happens and they unfollow. It happens.
Yeah,
It's
and you can't go by those numbers either because some of them it's just they're follow bots or
absolutely.
it's and it's a purge where Twitch is like, all right, we're purging all of these stupid bots or all of these things. So your follower numbers, while they're a nice attainable goal, keep in mind that they're not actually really the best thing to go by.
Yeah, I agree.
um so but yeah, patience is my worst virtue, and that is a wonderful piece of advice because I always want to have the best and always want to do everything and want to get everything together perfectly right before I go do it, and I'm not patient enough to wait for
Mm,
that particular thing to come in, right? I'm not
yeah.
patient to get through. It's like, let's finish this, and yeah, I am terrible with that. So um yeah, thank you. That's very good advice. Very good advice. So, do you have any cool tattoos, scars, or piercings?
This is where another thing where I'm going to be boring because of nursing school. So I have a nose piercing and I have each of my ears pierced once. That's literally all I have. Nursing school won't let you have any other piercings. Like they make me take my nose piercing out. Um, you
Oh,
know,
really?
and I have to have like natural hair colors, and it has to be this and that and the other thing, and no visible tattoos. So it's very strict. As to what we can have. But as soon as I'm out of nursing school, then it's free game.
Yeah, it's not quite as strict when you get out of nursing school. Because my cousin actually has a couple of tattoos now since she's been a nurse for a while. And yeah, God. It's like working at Disney right now because you can't. That's the same thing at Disney. You can't have visible piercings. You can't have visible tattoos. It's terrible. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
it's no fun.
but one more semester. One more.
One more December. I graduate in December.
Yay! I
So
graduated in a
excited!
December too. I graduated December
Yay!
2011. So graduation buddies.
Yay!
uh,
So excited.
I know you are. It's that I remember the feeling you are feeling right now. Such a euphoric and exciting time. If there was one person, past or present, that you could have dinner with tonight, who would it be and why? This can be fictional, non-fictional, dead, alive, whatever.
So I kind of decided to go with relate this back to gaming because obviously we're a gaming community. And I said Proto Magical Girl because she inspired me to be what I am today, to get into what I'm doing today. I would love to. That would be amazing just to sit down and have dinner with her and chat with her and talk about all of the unique experiences that we've had and stuff. So,
Nice, very nice. So I've got a few more questions left for you, and then we can open up to the Q&A for our live chat here in Twitch. So if you guys have not asked anything, make sure to click that link and ask a question. What is an ideal weekend for you?
Relaxing at home with my partner and playing any sorts of games. You know, I love any sort of games like tabletop RPGs, board games, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon trading card game, video games, anything. I just love it all. You know, that would be just nice and relaxing, you know.
Nice.
Or a salt-filled competition of death and destruction, but it depends on who's over at the time, you know.
Do you play Hearthstone at all if you're a card game player?
So I used to play a little bit. It's not really my thing, but I
It's
have played it in the
weird.
past.
I can't get into Hearthstone. That is one game I can't get into because
It's
it
different.
plays so different.
It is so different than like other card games that I enjoy. So
I liked the World of Warcraft card game before Hearthstone came out because it played like Magic. You know, it had all of that stuff as well. And then they, I don't know, it's Hearthstone. I cannot. I can't do it. I just can't. I'm not good at it. And I never got into Magic, although I wish it's so expensive to get into.
it really is. I'm struggling. Like I say, I got out of it for a while, and now I'm getting back into it, and it's expensive, and it's.
My husband has a bunch of old decks because there's almost 2 decades between the two of us, so he has really old Magic cards that are not playable anymore. But he also has Elf. I don't know if you've ever heard of Legend of the Five Rings.
Yep.
He's got L5R cards. He used to be like the top player of that game worldwide.
Oh wow!
Back when it was really popular, he used to be like up there, and he is now L5R has changed a bit, and they just came out with some new stuff. So I might, since they just came out, I might get into L5R because it is samurai stuff, and it's kind of cool. So what are you most thankful for?
So this one's gonna be a bit like just personal for me. I'm most thankful for my support group. I have a small, close group of friends, and that I would like to shout out a couple of them if it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a couple that are in chat, and there's a couple that are in the Twitch chat, and then there's there are a couple that are out there, probably not on here, but I've got Starblade, Skits, and Waves. They're all my mods in my chat. I've got Kai and Brophy, Monica and Henry, Beth and Brian. You all know who you are. Those are just a few of them, but you guys are the reason that I'm still alive and the woman I am today. So.
Oh, that's so awesome. So what is your strongest passion outside of streaming?
Helping people. That's literally. I am so compassionate, and I love to help people and inspire people and fight for people. I did activism for a while, and like for the transgender community, and like fought for people, and I was on the TV and in newspapers, and
nice.
I love to just help people.
I think that's awesome. You sound like a person that just is you sound like you're gonna have great bedside manner. You are just one of those people that is easy to talk to. And I realized when you were talking about your friends, I totally accidentally skipped a question. So I actually have one more question that we're going to end on.
Uh-oh.
Who inspires you to be the woman you are today?
So this one is a little different. It's from my friends. It's my sister. She's literally everything that I want to be. She has been my number one support from day one. As soon as I told her, she switched pronouns and names immediately.
That's awesome.
She took care of me, like, in several instances where I needed that sort of support, and like it was just, she has been there for me for every step of the way. So I love her a lot, and she's basically everything I would ever want to be. She's beautiful, she's successful, she's intelligent, she's got a family, just everything.
That's awesome. Aww. I love it. So I think that's a great question for us to end on and go to the Q&A questions.
Sounds good to me.
I'm a sucker for people who are close to their siblings because my little brother and I are very close. So, Veiled Malice ask a question that is similar to one that I've already asked. However, they do add a little extra on it. So they ask, what's your favorite game, be it video or otherwise? So, stepping outside of the video game, like, what is your favorite game, period? Whether it be video or tabletop.
Oh, jeez. First of all, I just want to say Veiled Malice is a butt. He's my partner, so he's, he's been in Twitch chat the whole time, trying to catch my attention. But as far as my favorite game, I'm still gonna go back to the Persona 5 for right now. I love Exalted. Exalted is one of my favorite tabletop RPG systems. Rogue Trader is really good. There's so many. I don't think I can actually really give you a favorite, but there's just so many good systems out there. That's a lot of fun and a lot of really good games out there. So,
that's from your partner again. And the only reason I'm asking this question is because I love this question right here. Why have you not played Red Dead Redemption yet?
You remember when we talked about trolling?
Yes.
Yeah. This is pretty pretty trolly right now. Because I'm a scrub. That's why. It's been suggested to me by a lot of people. I just never have got it. So I would like to actually play it. So.
Oh God, I love it. So actually, there is one good question that Veiled Malice asked. Is there any trend that you'd like to see in the video game industry follow more? Online services, changing worlds, content updates, etc. That's actually a really good question. I like that question.
First of all, how many questions did he ask?
This is his last question. I might actually steal this question, Veiled. That's a good question.
Can you repeat that for me, please, just so I make sure I have it there?
Yeah, so is there a trend that you would like to see the video game industry follow more? For example, online services or world-changing content updates, etc.
Well, first of all, I can tell you I'd like to see the trends go away from microtransactions. That's
yes.
Just I want to see dynamic world building just come back and be it's one of those things. You have some of these games that are so they railroad you and you don't have any semblance of choice, and the story needs to be important. I'm gonna reference a game that Malice and I actually played recently together, Far Cry 5. We both really disliked the game because the story didn't draw us in. We didn't care about any of the characters. We didn't, it was just one of those things where it's that's not good world building. I want to see stronger world building from that.
Oh, yeah, I really like this question. I'm totally gonna steal that question. That's a great question. And that's a great answer. I'd like to see more world building as well. I totally get into that kind of stuff. So, Wave Resonator asks, from a scale of 10 to 10, how much do you love Blood Bowl?
The trolling.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the people that I who, they've been my friend for a long time. And we play a lot of games together, and Blood Bowl was one of those games that we used to play. I rage quit several times when we were playing together because so much salt. So much salt. So if I had to give a rating on a 10 to 10 scale, it would probably be 10.
He also asked, what's your favorite Blood Bowl game?
Wave, I'm gonna kick your butt. I honestly, I only ever played the original Blood Bowl, so I don't have any other like ones that I would say I have no favorites of that genre. She's been a good friend of mine for a long time, but she likes to poke fun at the Blood Bowl.
I love it. That is actually it as far as questions go. We actually got a really good one out of those 5 questions. That's okay. I don't mind the trolley questions. I think it makes it fun. Oh, we just got another one come in. Oh, snap. We just got another one. Mr. Keys. Oh. All right. Mr. Keys is always good for a good one.
All right.
I live with bipolar disorder, and there's a lot of stigma around here associated with mental disorders. How did you embrace yourself to help others? And what would you suggest to me so I could do the same?
You need to know that you're not alone, first of all. And I think mental disorder really sounds very negative. The way I look at things like that is the brain is an organ just like any other brain in the body, or just any other organ in the body. You know, we all need help from some time or another to take care of those organs. Mm-hmm. And really, you know, there shouldn't be any stigma around one or another. And it's just, I know it's hard, but it's one of those things where you have to realize that you're not alone. You know, people will love you no matter, you know, who you are, what walk of life you come from. And really just that, like, I took me being transgender and basically turned it into my armor, so to speak. It's me. It's transgender to me is an adjective that describes me. You know, it's a description. That's all it is. You know, there's just a unique facet about me that people can't use to hurt me, and I try and take that and turn it into a positive thing for others. You know, I'm willing to educate. I'm willing to hold a conversation with those who would even, you know, disagree with, you know, what it is I'm looking at. So
is there I'm trying to think of a good way to word my question. Actually, I don't really know what I want to ask anymore. I lost my train of thought. Would you like to see more transgender in video games?
See, this is the interesting thing, because yes I would, but it's been introduced in ways that don't make any sense, like in Andromeda. There was a character who was transgender, but they basically just flat out told you they were, you know, without any sort of like building any sort of trust with you, or like, you know, they moved all, you know, across the universe to get away from what they were. Why would they just tell you right off, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things that it's very personal, so it's hard to say exactly how you'd like to see that. And everybody has different viewpoints on how it should be portrayed.
Right. I think that's, I mean, obviously that is a valid thing to think about. I don't know anything about that game, and that right there is like, what the hell? Really? She or he? I don't know what the.
It's a trans female. Yeah.
Okay, and she just flat out says I'm trans.
She's like, I came, you know, I came away from being this person and now I'm this person, and it's like, why would they even say that, you know?
That is so weird. That's
Because
so
they,
weird.
as open as I am about it, I just don't volunteer that information to strangers, like,
Yeah.
you know.
That's, man, that's so weird. Huh. I did not know that. Yeah, I think that there's definitely a way that you need to address it when bringing it into the game, and it needs to be something that is valuable to that person's storyline, essentially. Like if it's not going to work with the story, there's no point in making it just because it's the hype thing right now to do. You know what I mean? Like, I hate when people jump on to say, "Oh, we're minority friendly, so we're going to have all of these, you know, whatever in the thing instead of just making a good game or making a good movie." You know, and actually taking your time with that character development.
Absolutely. So the way I look at being transgender is I don't introduce myself, "Hi, I'm a transgender woman." I introduce myself, I'm Daccio, you know. Transgender is literally an adjective that describes me. Like, just like being tall or being short, everything has its own unique set of problems. You know, problems in
Yeah.
advance, you know, so it's like that's what it is. It's a descriptor. So we all have our own unique experiences, so
Dead Doe Eyes ask a question. Would the trans character in Catherine be considered well done? I'm not sure what Catherine is. Do you?
I can't comment on that either. I don't know what Catherine.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I did spot another question in the Twitch chat that wasn't entered in, I don't believe, into the questionnaire. Lady Shaizun asked, "What would be your ideal game setup?"
Oh, dang. I totally missed that. Oh, yeah, I like that question.
So my current PC I built myself about um
Excuse me. Sorry.
probably 2012, 2013, something around there. So it's getting there. It's getting old. So ideally, I want to build a new PC with, you know, I'm gonna be a nurse. I'm gonna save up some money, you know, a couple grand, and build a beast, I think.
Um, do you prefer water cooling or air cooling, or do you think it
So
matters?
currently, I have an air cooled computer. This is even in 2013, water cooling still wasn't like as ideal as it is now, like as well done as it is now.
Yeah.
I would love to have a water cooled PC, um, just so it runs cooler. Like, my room turns into a furnace sometimes because of how much heat my PC puts out.
Same.
So
Um, Wave actually asked another question, and this is not a trolly one.
uh-oh.
Does sexuality matter to you in games? And if so, why?
So as far as like there's two ways that could go, because there's are we talking about like LGBT, sort of like somebody's sexuality? Are they gay? Are they bi? Are they lesbian? Or are we saying like sexualized games? Um, but I'm gonna go, since we've been talking about LGBT, I'm gonna go with that route. Um, I would like to
Just the
see.
sexuality of the character is what she said in chat.
So, like, whether a character is sexualized, I imagine.
Um, I'm not sure.
That could go a variety of ways. So if we're talking about like, because traditionally, you see things like in D&D where the joke is the law of okay, straight, lesbian, bi, pan, and so on. Okay, that's
Okay,
what they.
gotcha.
Okay. So yes, I think it is important. It's important to have representation. It doesn't need to be pushed in people's faces, and it doesn't need to be advertised loudly. but neither should be somebody being straight. It doesn't need to be pushed on you know.
Right.
Um, I really think that the characters in the universe are people, just like we're people in this world, and that's the way it should be. There's going to be people from all walks of life. So,
Um, I think when it is more important to know that their sexuality versus everything else, that's when it's not good. Like when you're
absolutely,
making
yes.
that the
Somebody
most important thing, like that shouldn't be the most important thing.
somebody shouldn't be defined by that.
Exactly, exactly. Um, One of the games that I think actually did a really good job in that regard is Life is Strange.
I've not gotten very far into Life is Strange. I really want to play it someday, but um,
You should play it. You like story, it's a good story.
mhm.
Um, I don't want to end it, but I think there's definitely some overarching possible lesbian theme there.
Yeah,
Um,
I've heard about a little bit about that. Yeah,
and I think they did a really good job with that because it's not what is the important thing. It's it's just happens to be, oh, okay, this is a thing, interesting, all right, cool, moving on, kind of deal.
yeah.
So
Another game that did pretty decent with that was Mass Effect. The Mass Effect series. You could basically be, you could be, any gender, and you could be in a relationship with, any of the characters depending on their preferences, or their sexualities, and like, I mean, in Andromeda, it seems like there's some shoehorned LGBT characters in there, but other than that, like, it was pretty good. Like
um
for the series as a whole, for that.
oh, that's good, that's nice. I know that Mass Effect is one of those I've got to go and try because so many
Yes,
people are like, ah, this is a great, I can't tell you how many people we've had say, oh, I love Mass Effect on the podcast itself. I love Mass Effect, it's a great game. Dang, okay. Mass Effect and Final Fantasy are the two games that I really need to go play. Oh, and Fallout. Those three games are seem to be some of the most popular ones amongst
hmm
you ladies. Um, well, is there anything else that you would like to address before we close out?
Um, just I want to kind of reiterate what I said in the beginning. Happy Pride to everybody. I'm a pansexual trans woman. I am out and proud, and everybody needs to be who they are. So really, if just you got to be yourself. If I can give you any piece of advice, be yourself.
I think that's a great piece of advice, and thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me. I really had a lot of fun, and
So
we got some fun questions.
we did get some fun questions. So where and when can we find you streaming?
So my problem is I don't have a set schedule right. I typically stream in the afternoon EST. So like I'm going to be streaming this Tuesday in the afternoon now. Probably about usually if I stream it's around 6 in the evening EST. Um, I try to my partner and I occasionally will do what I refer to as Sunday Fun Day. We'll both play games together on
Nice.
stream, and there's a little bit of banter going on there, sort of fun stuff. Um, and I try. So I have a Discord and Twitter and Facebook page where I typically post, like, say, okay, this week I'm gonna try and stream these days. I'm actually debating the idea of streaming a couple other shorter streams during the week at different times, like, because I try to commit to at least 4 hours if I'm streaming.
Yeah.
But I might do shorter 1 or 2 hour streams if I can just do a little bit, during the other times in the week.
Very
Depends.
cool. So, and what is your Twitch channel?
I think it's, yeah, Daccio the side chick.
And that's got underscores in between the letters, correct?
Daccio, Daccio _the _side chick, PSYCHICK.
Very cool. thank you again for joining me. It was a blast. I loved talking to you and learning more
Had
about
a lot
you.
of fun.
And I will definitely make sure to check you out since you will be streaming some more over the summer, correct?
I absolutely will. School's out for the summer, so.
Awesome. Very awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. This has been a Girlstreamer podcast. Thank you for listening. Girlstreamers is partnered with Loot Crate, Fresh Designs, Punk's Paracord, Simple Jerky, UN Racing Chairs, Glom Tom, and Sennheiser. Links to all these amazing partners are down below, so please feel free to click. Thanks, guys, for all your support. Please follow us at Girlstreamers on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram, and player.me. Don't forget, our Twitch channel is now Girlstreamers_Inc. If you have any questions or would like more information, you can visit our website at girlstreamers.com and contact us through there. You can subscribe to us on Twitch or GameWisp, and don't forget, if you subscribe, you get access to our Discord fan channel, and you can buy some super cool gear in our online shop at designbyhumans.com/shop/girlstreamers. You can find Daccio on Twitter at SciChickDaccio, _Daccio. That's PSYCHICK_DACCIO. And on Twitch at twitch.tv/Daccio the Sidechick. That's Daccio, DACCIO _THE_PSYCHICK. Our next podcast will be next Sunday, June 10th, with Darwin, right here, same time. This podcast is a part of the Two Lazy Dogs Media Group and the Girlstreamers community. Encourage, support, grow.